Companies are making so much money right now that they are still paying decent dividends. So what I'm doing is
Welcome. You've been coming to the conference for several years. What are you seeing different this year compared to previous years?
everything is different this year. And when I mean everything is that there is a certain sentiment to this market that's carried us through the last, I want to say 10 years almost. And this year it's different. I'm not saying that this time is different and, things are going to break mass psychology and we're going to go to places that are, impossible. I'm just saying that the sentiment here has changed because finally the fundamental story that we've been telling the world, look, there isn't enough supply of uranium coming online, of silver that's been in a deficit for the last 4 or 5 years, of gold being really money and not just a metal, a precious metal. We've been saying it for several years and we've been making our bets and buying companies and buying ETFs, gold, silver, and the commodities. The world is finally catching up to what we've been saying and acting upon all these years. And so it's different in the sense that there's a lot more people. It's
Right.
different in the sense that there's a lot more buzz. People look
The buzz.
healthier and wealthier and they're happier. And I think it's great because now I get to speak to people who are just entering this market and I want them to know, I don't care if they're a woman, a minority, a white man, a rich guy. I don't care who
Your
you
grandma,
are.
your grandpa, your
Exactly.
auntie.
If you're a human and you believe that you can't beat the market and that you have to buy the most boring, S&P 500 stocks, you don't have to. You can probably make, and this is not financial advice, asterisk, lawyers beware.
Allegedly.
This is not financial advice, but I've been able to, take from humble beginnings, take my net worth up 11 times,
Love that.
probably
Wow.
12 times,
Wow.
as of this year, but 11 times because I chose this industry to invest in. And so, like, my message to newbies out there is it's going to be messy, it's going to be volatile, but in certain ways, you're likely not completely too late for this, and there's lots of opportunities still ahead of us. So I'm excited.
Right. There's a lot of different opinions on, when's the best time, now, yesterday, in the future, and where we're at as far as the timing goes of all this news and the buzz around this industry. Where do you think we're at in the gold and silver hitting such high numbers, even copper? Do you think we're at the beginning? Do you think it's going to have a drop? What's your perspective?
I consider the bull market in gold to have started in 2016. That was the bottom, and then we've been slowly rising. I just gave a talk, and quote Doug Casey. He said there are 3 phases to the bull market. I have no original ideas. I just take it from the people who have made many millions more than I have, and I copy what they do.
Why
and
not?
I tell people in my own language in a way that's relatable to them. And so there are 3 stages. One is the stealth stage. Sorry, that's already happened. That's 10 years of hope and wait and suffering and seeing your stock go down 30-40% and knowing that there's value in the ground but not seeing the stock price or the gold price go up. That's gone. Now there's the wall of worry, and it's wall of worry because we're climbing it, we're going up in price, but we that have been in this market for a long time, we are worried. The reason we're worried is because the price is going up too quickly. I cannot tell you what the silver price is right now because it's going up right now, double digits. That's not normal.
And yesterday, gold went over 5,000. Right?
Exactly. So we're talking
It's like
5,000 and over 100 for silver. So it's moving so quickly that veterans are stepping back, selling a portion of their portfolio.
I know.
Which is great. I'm doing that too, disclaimer. But emphasis on the portion. Because there are many things that haven't happened yet that would usually mark the end of a bull market. And so historically, if you take a look at length of time and a movement in price from start to finish and maturity of the market in M&A, in premiums paid, in many different aspects. We haven't reached the last quarter of many aspects that are supposed to be what happens in the later stages of a bull market.
The key indicators.
Exactly. And so what I'm saying is basically, okay, a lot has happened. What Rick Rule likes to say is that the easy money has been made. What one must remember, in my opinion, is that the easy money is made in a long horizon, and most of the money is made at the very end, when things really go parabolic. The commodities are going parabolic. The stocks have not yet. They have started to get really exciting, but all of these companies that are out here on the floor, they are counting on the fact that gold is sitting at between $2,500 to $3,000 per ounce, and silver is being considered at about $30 per ounce. And so when you go back and you redo those calculations, you see that the company that you thought was worth $1 billion that is trading for $150 million is actually maybe worth $2 billion with today's prices, or $3 billion. Now, I'm not saying that this will remain the norm for the next 10 years and they're going to be able to extract it from the ground, but these numbers are going to have to be updated. And so the wall of worry is when we say, hold on, there's a pause. We want a pause. We want this market to mature and not just completely blow off. So I expect a correction. I really do expect a correction, and I'm hoping and praying for a correction so that we can get a better base from which we can then, explode higher. And then eventually, this is going to get too hot, and then eventually we're going to have to sell out completely. But I don't believe we're quite there yet.
Interesting, yeah, because Rick Rule was saying how he really got rid of all of his debt at the high highs that everything has now. He was able to reduce his completely, actually eliminate his downside. And you're saying you're taking a bit of that approach with some of the worry that prices will have a correction. And when do you think that could be?
It could be as early as tomorrow.
Scary.
It could be as early as tomorrow, which it's different for people who have been, in this business for a long time. It's easy for us to say, yeah, I'm selling some, but for people who are hearing this for the first time and they want to get in, it's like, is it too late?
So
like,
we're too good to be. Yeah. We're specifically speaking about gold and silver right now.
Yeah,
right?
gold and silver mostly. And I think my message to newcomers is understand that it's all about fear and greed in your brain and how you react to it. And so what I would advise my daughter, who's not thankfully yet old enough to be trading, she's, not even 2 years old, but I would say, look, if you want to get into this market, FOMO is the worst feeling in the world.
Yeah.
Because if you don't invest when you want to invest, you end up investing at the top, and then you can't get rid of the stocks that you've bought initially. One thing to remember is that the cycles in this industry are so violent that after a top, there are situations and there are people walking these halls that have lost 7- and 8-figure amounts because there were no buyers when they wanted to buy. They were too late when they wanted to sell. So they were too late to sell. Like we say, it's better to be very early selling than one day late. If you're one day too late, then you could be in really deep trouble. So yeah, sell some if you've been here. If you haven't been here, and you have FOMO, maybe buy less than what you want right now and wait for a correction.
So you would say don't be super aggressive.
I would not be super aggressive right now, not in gold and silver, personally. I would maybe take a look at uranium, which is something that I talk about a lot. It is starting to run now, and the funny thing about uranium is that in 2021, 2022, it had its spike. And then it came down, so it ran up from, I believe it was like under $60, ran up to a 107, came down to 70, and traded for about a year, 70 to 80. That is the best scenario here. Trading sideways for a long time, and now it's taken off again into 90. And if we could get this in the precious metals, it would be ideal because it resets market expectations to think, okay, the norm now is 70 and not, lower where we were in
60.
previous years. So ideally, this is what would take place. But the market gods don't give us what we want all the time. So look at uranium first, and if you understand the
forget about it.
thesis, don't forget about it. Don't ignore it. I've been hearing a lot of people saying that they are looking for copper companies, copper exploration companies this year. So I believe that copper is going to be a hot topic. Next time this year we might be talking about copper, but nobody's talking about nickel. Nobody likes nickel.
No one has talked about nickel.
Nobody's
Talk about
talking
nickel.
I can't talk about nickel yet because I'm not buying it yet. So that's how early we are to the nickel story. Because what happened in the nickel space is that Indonesia came out and they had so much nickel that they flooded the market. Price came crashing down. Nobody can compete with them because they were extracting it in a way that was really causing a lot of pollution and destruction environmentally in Indonesia, and they pushed that over the edge. And now the government is saying, look, even we can't stand this anymore. We're going to have to step back and control things because we can't sacrifice the whole land due to one commodity. We want to extract it, make money from it. We can't sacrifice the whole country. And so the Indonesian market is going to be, probably, as they say, producing less than what was forecasted, just a while ago. But one thing that I am buying right now is oil. Oil is just ignored. It's not even that people hate it. It's just a market that, people think that with Trump going into Venezuela, all of a sudden there's going to be so much oil that the price is going to come down and these companies aren't going to make money. First of all, the price is doing okay and companies are making so much money right now that they are still paying decent dividends. So what I'm doing is separate portfolio, buying oil stocks, getting the dividend while I wait. And I do believe that people will finally catch up to the fact that, there's oil in everything. There's oil here. There is oil in our clothing. There is oil in me coming over here and us just doing everything that we do. And anytime that there is growth in major economies around the world in any way, we need more oil. And the Venezuelan gold is very, very, let's call it what it is, low quality oil. It's hard to refine, and it's going to be a long time until we're actually using up Venezuelan oil to any amount. That's what I believe in. And so right now, that's what I'm putting my money towards the most. But with the view that the market in gold and silver is not over, I'm just waiting for things to settle down a little bit to maybe get a little bit more aggressive. But absolutely, like fear and greed. Just don't be too greedy if you're entering in now. Have a dash of fear that things could all of a sudden change against you, and don't play with money that you're not willing to lose. That is the number one thing.
And that just goes back to what you were saying earlier about you're hearing a lot about accredited investors dumping, selling off gold and silver. But to your point earlier, they're just shaving some off the top.
They've made a profit. I mean, when something goes up 2, 3 times, in some cases 10 times, you have to sell. You have to recoup the investment that you've made because you're being proven right. And you're de-risking your portfolio like Rick Rule has done. And that means like the initial investment that you put in, you can pull that all back. It's like playing with the house's money at this point, which then I think allows you to make better decisions because, you're not going to lose your initial investment. I think it's a good strategy. When we run too much like we're doing now, it's a good strategy.
So you're an educator on investing in this industry on the Next Big Rush media channel. Where can people find you online? Are you doing any other talks later today at the conference?
Yeah. So I'll be speaking on uranium at 2:20. I think it's workshop 5. I'll be talking about smaller companies in the uranium space. And people can find me everywhere with The Next Big Rush. I have a website with a newsletter there. It's free. And I can be found on YouTube, on Twitter, and anywhere else on social media.
Yeah. And you have some educational videos also uploaded to Kamada University.
Yes, that's true. Yeah. I do teach a module there. It's really how to find 10 baggers. And people people have been doing well with that, apparently, because the market's finally coming to them. So I'm happy about that.
Glad to hear that. So nice to meet you.
Yeah, Fabio.
Thank you so